Abomination Vaults.
Chapter 10. To draw the baleful gaze.
Content warning. While Abomination Vaults contains typical Pathfinder action and adventure, it also presents themes of suicide, ableism, body horror, and human experimentation. Before you begin, understand that player consent, including that of the Game Master, is vital to a safe and fun play experience for everyone. You should talk with your players before beginning and modify descriptions or scenarios as appropriate.
Chapter 10 Synopsis. The heroes have their final confrontation with Belcora in this chapter. On their way to the empty vault, where Belcora can be found, they pass through several challenges that aspirants of Nhimbaloth faced back when it was an active temple to the empty death. Ironically, this lowest level of the Abomination Vaults is one of the safest, in that its denizens generally stay put, and the heroes can rest for as long as they need in its empty chambers. They'll need to be in top form to tackle Belcora. If they haven't collected all 3 fulcrum lenses by now, they might need to retreat, recover them, and face Belcora again. Environmental cues: black stone, carvings of bones or mist, clammy air, eerie lights, fog, swamp plants. Chapter 10 Synopsis. The heroes have their final confrontation with Belcora in this chapter. On their way to the empty vault, where Belcora can be found, they pass through several challenges that aspirants of Nhimbaloth faced back when it was an active temple to the empty death. Ironically, this lowest level of the Abomination Vaults is one of the safest, in that its denizens generally stay put, and the heroes can rest for as long as they need in its empty chambers. They'll need to be in top form to tackle Belcora. If they haven't collected all 3 fulcrum lenses by now, they might need to retreat, recover them, and face Belcora again. Few of the vault's inhabitants know the true story of Nhimbaloth's ancient temple, notably Lady's Whisper, and maybe a Dread Wisp or 2, but none will tell the tale. Was it a hub of a cult cast deep into the earth by some ancient enemy, or the headquarters of a Darklands cabal? No matter its original purpose, the complex series of initiation trials are the last challenges that the heroes must face to confront Belcora. The first is the challenge of souls, where unworthy initiates were poisoned, tormented, and had their souls extracted. The second is the challenge of despair, where initiates face their greatest fears. The last test is the challenge of the swamp, where initiates demonstrated their mastery over swampland dangers. The heroes are likely to face these in order only if guided by Lady's Whisper. Otherwise, they're free to tackle them in whatever order they'd like. Beyond lies the empty vault, Belcora's domain, and the source of the Gauntlight's powers. Temple features. The temple is wholly dark, except where otherwise noted. Ceilings are generally 15 feet high, but reach 60 feet in the main chambers of Area J1, J9, J14, J18, and J20. The stone doors all bear intricate carvings, such as a moss-filled skull, a swirling mist, or other detailed swamp scenes, as well as clusters of 7 divots. The Lady's Whisper controls the doors here. Area J1. First challenge. A basin filled with reeds and moss stands in an alcove between doors that lead to the north. 2 metal tubes jut into the room from the east, each sealed off by some iris-like mechanism, a foot or so inside the pipe. No method of opening these mechanisms is visible. Black stone doors lead south, and a single grey stone door carved with shapes of swirling mists leads west. None of the doors have handles or latches. The test begins with the challenge of souls through the western door. The metal tubes slant downwards and drain into the swamp in area J15. They're just large enough for a medium creature to slide down. If the heroes enter here with Lady's Whisper, the skeleton silently points at the grey door. That door opens with a push or simply swings aside if someone stands in front of it for one round. The doors to the south, with hardness of 15 and hit points of 60, and the tube's mechanical iris openings, with a hardness of 18 and hit points of 72, are all shut and don't open unless the Lady's Whisper wills it. If dread wisps are following the heroes, one of them takes position above the basin to silently report everything that the heroes do here to Belcora. Passing the Challenge of Souls. When the heroes return here, having either fed or defeated the dread wisps in area J8, Lady's Whisper opens the door to the south and leaves them open. A hero who succeeds at a DC 27 perception check to sense motive realizes that the Lady's Whisper is offended that the heroes pass the test, but is keeping this irritation suppressed. Sidebar: The Protector. The heroes might go along with the Lady's Whisper at first, wondering what the enigmatic undead is asking them. After they complete one or two tests, they might decide they don't want to be judged worthy of Nhimbaloth's attention after all. This is especially true if they realize that each successful test increases the Lady's Whisper's displeasure, and that the undead plans to kill them. Lady's Whisper responds to any preemptive attack by the heroes as though expecting it. The undead attempts to levitate out of melee reach and cast spells to eliminate the heroes. The lurking pair of dread wisps that might have followed them from area I-64 join the fight as well. Area J2, Poisoning Room, a moderate level 10 encounter. At the eastern end of this long room stands a giant jade statue of a cracked and chipped skeleton on a burial shroud. The skull clenches a bundle of swamp weeds in its teeth. Built into the walls are several narrow slits and stone doors. A hero who investigates the statue and succeeds at a DC 25 religion check realizes that it's a rare physical representation of Nhimbaloth. Long ago, initiates were condemned to kneel before Nhimbaloth. When they did, cultists hiding in the galleries shot poison blowgun darts at them. Those who didn't succumb to the poison were deemed to be worthy and led south. Those who succumbed were taken north to have their souls harvested. Creatures. 6 cultists have arisen as spectres. They manifest in the shooting galleries with ghostly blowguns, which they use in addition to their vile touch strikes to shoot ephemeral darts made of their own ghostly substance. The narrow slits provide anyone in the shooting galleries with greater cover, with a +4 circumstance bonus to armor class, reflex saves against area effects, and stealth checks. If the heroes enter a shooting gallery, the spectre passes through the walls to keep their distance. The spectres fight until destroyed. Area J3, Cleansing Chamber. 2 grime-crusted copper tubs, devoid of water, stand against the south wall. Long abandoned, this chamber was once where initiates who survived the poisoning rooms were stripped and bathed with swamp water, then escorted into the Worthies Cave. A hero can discover the secret door while searching this room with a successful DC 25 perception check. A false stone on the eastern wall must be rotated to pivot open one of the copper tubs and the wall beside it. Area J4, Worthies Cave, a low-level 10 encounter. The ceiling of this natural chamber bears 7 holes no larger than a human finger. Before surviving initiates took the next challenge, the Challenge of Despair, they were subjected to a mind-numbing gas to make the test more difficult. The secret doors here both open the same way. When rotated, a portion of the smooth, flat wall makes the door pivot open. The secret doors are at each end of the short hallways, so they aren't hard to find. Anyone searching either short hall discovers the secret door and the method of opening it. The doors won't open, however, if the room's trap is active, so they must be battered down with a hardness of 18 and 60 hit points to escape the trap. Hazard. The trap spews mind-numbing gas through 7 holes in the ceiling. Befuddling gas trap. A level 11 hazard and a complex mechanical trap. Area J5. Level 10 portal chamber. A moderate level 10 encounter. Belcora added this room to the temple to connect her network of permanent teleportation circles. Its door is locked, and the key is long lost. A hero can force it open with a successful DC 25 athletics check, or pick the lock with 4 successful DC 25 thievery checks. Swirling silver-filled runes adorn the rounded walls of this chamber. Sheets of reflective metal cover the floor and ceiling. The heroes can reactivate this portal chamber and connect it to the others throughout the Abomination Vaults, as described in Area B17. Creatures. As the lowest portal chamber, Belcora ensured this room was well guarded. A powerful stone golem is built into the wall, in an open space between the silver-filled runes. It steps out and attacks anyone who isn't accompanying Belcora. Experience Award. Award the heroes 30 experience points for using the Awakened Portal ritual to reactivate the teleportation circle here. Area J6. Crematorium. A moderate level 10 encounter. 2 pools of bubbling magma sit side by side in the center of this large chamber. This crematorium is extremely hot, dealing 2d6 fire damage every 10 minutes. The scorpions are immune. Immersion in the 25-foot deep magma pools deals 20d6 fire damage each round. Creatures. Bound fire elementals have maintained the heat in this room for centuries. They climb out of the magma pits to attack intruders, pursuing aggressively and fighting until destroyed. Area J7. Soul Extractors. A moderate 10 encounter. This strange, irregular hall features several wide alcoves, each with a standing rack bearing crystals and levers, like bizarre torture devices. Failed initiates were brought here and strapped to the strange standing racks. These occult machines extracted the initiates' souls into crystal globes, and special glass golems sliced their bodies to pieces. Cultists took the soul-infused globes, which were far too delicate for the blade-handed golems to handle, to the dread wisps in Area J8. Only 3 of the occult machines still function, and each holds a crystal globe containing the soul of an initiate killed centuries ago. A hero investigating a functional machine and succeeding at a DC 30 occultism, religion, or relevant law check, such as spirit law, realizes what the globes are and how they were created. Creatures. The 4 golems remain here and do their best to slice intruders to ribbons. Their greenish glass bodies emit an unsettling glow, giving them the grim, glittering ability instead of dazzling brilliance. Treasure. The 3 crystal globes are about a foot in diameter and worth 200 gold pieces to certain unsavory soul merchants, such as night hags. If smashed, their fragments are valueless, but the soul trapped within travels to the boneyard and its ultimate reward. The 3 functioning machines contain some valuable parts. With several hours' work and a successful DC 30 crafting check, a hero can strip the machine of rare metals and delicate gears worth 80 gold pieces. If this check is a critical success, the parts are worth 160 gold pieces. On a critical failure, the parts in that machine are ruined and valueless. Area J8. Devouring Chamber. A severe level 10 encounter. This large chamber has a spiny dust-covered floor. On the far western edge is a large stone basin filled with swamp plants. A thick layer of dust covers the shattered crystal shards littering the floor, evidence of hundreds of initiates' extracted souls. The broken crystals make the ground difficult terrain and inflicts a -5 circumstance penalty to stealth checks, but isn't dangerous to anyone who isn't barefoot. Barefoot creatures take 5 piercing damage at the end of each stride in the room. Creatures. 3 powerful dreadwisps called Soul Feeders float here, as extensions of the evil energies of the empty vault in Area J20. They funnel souls released here into that chamber. They can't return to the empty vault, or even leave this room, without more souls. When the heroes arrive, the bobbing wisps demand that the heroes gather the crystal globes from the next room and smash them here. They don't admit that doing so frees them to return to the empty vault, but might insist truthfully that doing so will cause them to vanish from here. 1 soul feeder winks out for each sphere the heroes smash. The heroes will face them again in the empty vault. If it becomes clear to the soul feeders that the heroes aren't going to comply, they attack the heroes in an attempt to kill them and use their souls as fuel for the empty vault instead. Soul feeders gang up on 1 hero at a time, moving on to another when their target is dead. Each hero killed in this room returns 1 soul feeder to the empty vault immediately. Stolen soul. A hero who dies in this room has a portion of their soul stolen to the power of the empty vault. The hero can be raised as normal, but they gain the Doomed 1 condition and can't reduce their Doomed condition below 1 for a year. Experience Point Award. Award the heroes 30 experience points for dealing with these soul feeders and passing the challenge of souls. Area J9. Second challenge. This chamber looks much like the room to the north, except the grey door to the west is carved with frightened faces rather than mist, and there are 3 metal tubes rather than 2. The basin of reeds and swamp water is to the south. This is where initiates began the challenge of despair. The south doors and the mechanical iris openings in the tubes are similar to those in Area J1. The door on the west wall is unlocked and leads to the second test. If the Lady's Whisper is leading the heroes through the challenges, it points silently at the western door. The second dread wisp shadowing Lady's Whisper moves to hover about the basin and silently report the heroes' movements to Belcora. Once the heroes are through the door, Lady's Whisper opens the doors to Area J14 and awaits the heroes there, closing the doors after moving through them. Area J10. Path of Pleasant Memories. The walls of this long narrow hall are momentarily stark white, but colourful images soon swirl upon them. A door stands at each end of the hall. Occult magic powers the illusions here and along the path that constitutes the challenge of despair in Area J11 and J12. Each viewer sees different images, as if they're a hodgepodge of memories drawn from the viewer's mind. You might draw upon the hero's victories, friendships, and amusing encounters in this adventure path to describe the images. A hero who approaches the western door must attempt a DC 27 will saving throw. On a failure, the hero is entranced by the illusionary images for 24 hours. While so entranced, the hero takes a -10-foot penalty to all speeds in areas J10 to J12 and can't avert their gaze from the images in the same areas. 2 secret doors allowed cultists to cut quickly between the challenges. Heroes searching this hall discover the secret door to the north with a successful DC 25 perception check, and the secret door to the south with a successful DC 30 perception check. Each is opened by manipulating a nearby section of the wall that's slightly darker than the surrounding stone. The secret door to the south is one way only. The heroes can use it to access Area J12, but can't come back. Area J11, Path of Failure. This path widens and turns south opposite the single narrow door. Its walls are a riot of swirling images. The occult magic in this hall pulls personalized memories from the viewer, as in Area J10, but these memories are all failures. Mentors scolding the viewer, authorities punishing them, or lost friends crying. You can also pull from any significant failures the heroes had during this adventure path, such as needing to flee a significant foe, or triggering a damaging trap. Hazard. This room's images worm into the victim's mind. The heroes can avert their gaze from these images and gain that action's bonus to saving throws required by this hazard, even though these illusions are more than merely visual. Images of Failure, a level 12 hazard and a magical trap. Area J12, Path of Powerlessness. The walls, floor, and ceiling of this long hall swirl with overlapping shifting images. This hall's occult magic manifests as images drawn in the viewer's mind. As in areas J10 and J11, but these images predict failure in the future. Viewers see themselves growing infirm, succumbing to disease, or falling in battle against Belcora. The secret door leading north doesn't open from this side. The secret door to the east is the only way to leave and complete the challenge of despair. Those who couldn't find this hidden exit eventually died from torment in the images. Anyone more than 20 feet from the secret door can't see it due to the overlapping images, but anyone within 20 feet who seeks the area discovers it with a successful DC 27 perception check. A hero who searches the hall, which isn't possible while the trap is active, as the heroes are in encounter mode rather than exploration mode, finds the secret door automatically. Hazard. This trap is similar to the one in Area J11, though its area is much larger, as it fills the entire long hallway. The heroes can also avert their gaze from the images in this trap as well, if they choose. Images of Powerlessness, a level 12 hazard and a magical trap. Area J13, Chamber of Reflection. The walls of this bare room are white and plain. Initiates who passed the challenge of despair were permitted to stop in this psychic refuge to recover before facing the next test. Experience Award. Award the heroes 30 experience points for reaching this room after passing the challenge of despair. Area J14, Third Challenge. This room has double doors of black stone to the north, an enormous slab of rough-hewn rock blocking the passage to the south. 2 metal tubes jut into this room from the east wall. Both of their mechanical irises are open. The slab of rock blocking the passage to the south is one of the 2 slabs that function as an enormous door. There's only a gap of a few inches between them. The doors are particularly sturdy, and the only way for anyone other than the Lady's Whisper to open them is to smash them down with a hardness of 20 and 80 hit points each. Passing the challenge of despair. Lady's Whisper meets the heroes who enter from Area J13 here. A hero who succeeds at a DC 22 perception check to sense motive realizes that the Lady's Whisper is angry that the heroes passed. On a critical success, the heroes realize that the Lady's Whisper plans to betray them if they keep passing Nhimbaloth's tests. Lady's Whisper points to the open pipes. When the heroes exit through the pipes, it closes the iris portals after them, and then raises the stone slabs enough to enter Area J18, where it again waits for the heroes. Area J15, Deadly Swamp, a moderate level 10 encounter. The pipes leading to this chamber end with a drop 25 feet from area J1, 20 feet from area J9, and 15 feet from area J14. In all cases, the drop is into reeking swamp muck, so falling creatures take no damage, but draw the attention of this room's inhabitants. This massive cavern is a thick swamp, moist and stinking. 7 rusted metal boxes are just visible within the dense reeds of the swamp. The south end of the cavern is a rounded metal dam that slid upwards, so only a constant trickle of water dribbles from its top near the ceiling. Ancient gears on either side of the dam appear to lower it, though streaks of rust show they haven't moved in quite some time. At the lower north end of the cavern, the swamp water drains into a murky, flooded room. This room's environment echoes the poisonous terrain of Nhimbaloth's dead world, Void Bracken. The challenge of the swamp is simple: find the ways to open the dam and enter area J17. This area is difficult terrain, as the water isn't deep, but the ground beneath it is sucking and treacherous. Further, the air in the swamp is toxic. Any creature starting its turn in the swamp must succeed at a DC 27 Fortitude saving throw, or become Sickened 2 or Sickened 4 on a critical failure, and can't reduce the sickened condition while in the swamp. The creature is then temporarily immune for 10 minutes, whether or not it succeeds at the save. This is a poison effect. Heroes searching this area spot 3 rusted metal pipes running just beneath the swamp water and weeds. These connect to the rusty metal boxes marked on the map, and are a part of the control system to lower the dam. Heroes who succeed at a DC 25 crafting, engineering law, or thievery check to recall knowledge realizes that the pipes are important to controlling the dam. On a critical success, the heroes also realize that they need to connect the controls further north in area J16. Rusting boxes. Each box has a single valve turned sideways, pointing east to west. This is the off position. Turning it to point north to south, the way the pipes run beneath them, puts them in the on position. All 7 boxes must be turned to the on position before the control wheels in area J16 can turn. If your players like puzzles, you can have each valve that's turned in either direction automatically turn all other valves along its pipe and in its row as well. The players then need to puzzle out how to turn them all on. Creatures. Before the heroes can do much, they must contend with a trio of chulls imbued with Void Bracken's vile energy. The chulls fight until destroyed. Area J16. Perilous Controls. A severe level 10 encounter. Swamp water floods much of this cave. 3 small islands each bear a metal box with a rusty wheel. The murky water in this room looks no deeper than the swamp in area J15, but the water is 25 feet deep. The heroes will likely need to swim to reach the islands. Fortunately, the air in this cavern isn't as toxic as that in area J15, and no saving throws are required for breathing air here. The 3 wheels on the islands control the dam in area J15. If all are turned fully clockwise, requiring 3 interact actions each, while all the valves are positioned on, the dam there grinds downwards, releasing a cascade of fetid swamp water. This influx raises the water level here and in area J15 by several inches. Creatures. Lurking under the water are a pair of dread Hutherexes that attempt to ambush intruders and fight to the death. Area J17. Infested Reeds. A low level 10 encounter. This room is usually filled with a foot deep of swamp water that drains from the empty vault when the dam connected to area J15 is closed. The heroes most likely enter this area from Area J15 after lowering the dam. If they do, they've completed the challenge of the swamp. A circular pool of swamp water sits at the center of this square chamber. The pool is fed by a channel in the west wall between two sets of black stone double doors. The water flows out to the north through a metal dam. A thick knot of writhing reeds, like a grotesque tree, rises from the pool. The pool and the channels are only 6 inches deep, which is why the room floods so easily when the dam is closed. Creature. The writhing here is caused by an Isqualug infestation. When the heroes arrive, the grotesque aberration moves out of the reeds to attack. While a malevolent creature, it isn't affiliated with Nhimbaloth and recalls very little about how its larvae came here ages ago. If reduced to fewer than 150 hit points, the Isqualug casts Control Water to raise the water in the room by 10 feet and hopes it gains an advantage in the fight. When destroyed, its larvae scatter into the water and slip into the swamp below, in time to grow a new host body. Area J18, Maw of the Goddess, a low-level 10 encounter. The vaulted ceiling of this massive chamber reaches 80 feet high and is carved with intricate patterns of bones, swamp weeds, and misty swirls. To the south stands a huge dais, its stone carved into crooked, cracked teeth. Upon the dais rests a massive skull, its eye sockets empty and its visage menacing. A channel of filthy water cuts across this room, emerging at the base of the walls on the east and west side. Double doors bracket each channel outlet. The wall behind the giant skull hides a secret door, partially outlined in moisture and easier to find than normal. A successful DC 20 perception check while searching this area locates it. Creature. If the heroes have yet to defeat Lady's Whisper, it's waiting on the dais. It doesn't point towards any direction, but instead walks slowly towards the heroes. It whispers, "I know that you are pretenders, defilers. You should not be here. Nhimbaloth thinks you serve some purpose to her plans, but I disagree." The Lady's Whisper then attacks to stop the hero's progress. It uses its unwilling teleportation ability to shunt heroes into Area J14 if it can, so they have to take the time to come around through the swamp again. Lady's Whisper fights until destroyed. Area J19, Passage to the Depths, a severe level 10 encounter. A smooth natural cavern winds its way through the darkness, ending in a larger chamber with a wide pit at the far side. A corpse is slumped at the pit's edge. The pit is hundreds of feet deep and leads to even deeper places in the Darklands. Its challenges are beyond the scope of this adventure path. The corpse is a messily killed humanoid of a strange appearance, 2 heads and a chitinous body. The Irrelgaunt in the pit hollowed it out and filled it with gravel, so it makes a clattering noise when disturbed unless it's handled very carefully. Creatures. Although this passage hasn't been used in centuries, it isn't wholly abandoned. A crab-like Irrelgaunt from deeper in the Darklands lurks in the pit. When the Irrelgaunt hears activities in the room above, such as the clattering of gravel and the gruesome alarm is made, it skitters up the pit and arrives in 2 rounds. It retreats, abandoning its potential meal if reduced to fewer than 50 hit points. Treasure. The odd corpse still wears a strange jeweled torque worth 500 gold pieces. Area J20, the Empty Vault, an extreme level 10 encounter. This strangely shaped chamber is humid and oppressively clammy. The room's 4 wings each contain a massive pool of bubbling swamp water. Flickering motes of light and darkness play under the surface of these pools. The chamber's center is partially blocked by a circle of towering black standing stones, which crackle with eerie energy that shoot up into a shaft into the ceiling. 7 narrow channels, as though dug into the stone by a 7-fingered hand, run from each pool, and 3 of the walls to a moat in the center of the room. From there, the water flows under the wall to the east, between a pair of black stone double doors. An island in the moat holds a smooth altar, topped with a black lens the size of a fist. The empty vault has always been a generation pit for the wisps who served Nhimbaloth, a funnel of swamp, despair, and ghostly energies. It's mystically connected to the various swamp plant basins throughout the lower Abomination Vaults. Any followers of Nhimbaloth can telepathically communicate with wisps adjacent to the basin from here. The empty vault drew Belcora's soul after the Rose Guard killed her, and her ghost reappeared here 500 years after the most traumatic event in her life. Not her death, but her family's exile from Absalom. Belcora can't leave this chamber for long, so she uses her wisp proxies and bound agents to enact her will throughout the Abomination Vaults. She keeps the ebon fulcrum lens on the altar to restore its energies, while here it can regain its glimmers of Nhimbaloth's essence, but this takes time. The 7 swamp water rivulets are both dangerous and noxious, as they mark where Nhimbaloth once touched the world. It's a simple matter to step over them, but they pull unpleasantly at the life energy of anyone who crosses them. At the end of any turn in which a hero crosses a rivulet, whether by striding, stepping, flying, or any other means, the heroes must succeed at a DC 22 Fortitude save or become doomed 1. This DC increases by 2 for each additional unique rivulet crossed during that turn. For example, a hero who crosses over 3 rivulets in their turn must attempt a DC 26 Fortitude saving throw. The doom condition is cumulative on subsequent rounds. Crossing the pools doesn't have this effect, so the heroes might learn that there are safer ways to move about the room than simply walking in a direct line. The rivulets have no effect on followers of Nhimbaloth, including Belcora and the Dread Wisps. The black stone menhirs help support Gauntlight's weight and emit the twisting ribbon of eerie energy that rides up the shaft through to areas B35, C15, H37, and I28. Belcora can manipulate this ribbon of energy to power Gauntlight. Creatures. If Belcora hasn't yet rejuvenated, the ebon fulcrum lens automatically rejuvenates her when the heroes arrive. She is so incensed that another group of adventurers would dare oppose her in her sanctum that she attacks with her full fury. Belcora focuses her attacks on anyone who carries fulcrum lenses, especially a hero who carries the fulcrum lattice. She realizes the lenses are a potent weapon that can be used against her. There's one soul feeder here at all times. If the heroes presented the souls to the soul feeders in area J8, they've come here and also fight at Belcora's side. This makes the encounter particularly challenging. Belcora and the soul feeders use the menhirs for cover as they dart about, hoping to draw the heroes over the doom-inducing rivulets of swamp water. When the heroes infuse Belcora with splinters in the Crimson Fulcrum Lens, the Emerald Fulcrum Lens, and the Ochre Fulcrum Lens, Nhimbaloth comes for her, and she's forever destroyed. When the heroes do this, proceed to Nhimbaloth's entrance. Nhimbaloth's entrance. Once the heroes infuse Belcora with all 3 of Nhimbaloth's splinters, the earth shakes. A tremendous and hideous wail emanates from somewhere beyond this chamber. Indeed, it seems beyond the material plane. All creatures in the Abomination Vaults must succeed at a DC 30 will save or become frightened 3. A creature that critically fails is also paralysed for 1d4 rounds. At the start of the following round, Nhimbaloth's essence pervades the room. A terrible blackish grey mist seeps into the room that stinks of a fetid bog and leaves a layer of cloying, slimy water upon everything that it passes. The mist twists into a shape and a form, with 7-fingered tentacles appearing and disappearing in the fog. This misty incarnation can't be attacked or damaged. It flows into Belcora, who shrieks, "No! I deserve your power, not your attention! My death is full of rage and strength! It is not empty!" Despite these protestations, Belcora's form is pulled apart into the mist, and the mist vanishes. An immense grinding noise comes from high above. Gauntlight, Belcora's greatest work, is collapsing one level at a time. With each passing round, the artifact drops one dungeon level along the lighthouse's footprint, but not in the rest of the Abomination Vaults, obliterating anything directly beneath it. On the 9th round, it collapses into this chamber, destroying everything here. By then, the heroes would best be gone. Conclusion. With Belcora destroyed, Otari and Absalom are safe from her spiteful schemes. The heroes receive a warm welcome in Otari, and everyone wants to hear their tale over a friendly fire, good food, and more than a few drinks. The heroes are told, retold, and embellished for generations. Gauntlight is no more, and only the pit in the fog fen marks the spot where it once stood. The dangers lurking there may one day regain their strength and menace the surface. But those are only tales for other heroes.